Ooh, are we gonna see Prince now? No, much later. Months from now, baby.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason, Joe, and Crams are here, back with our top 25 singers countdown. We each revealed our number 25 last week, and now we are giving you our number 24. We're going to change up the order this time. Cram, you want to go first?
My number 24. Both are going to cringe for different reasons. So my number 24 favorite singer of all time is Ryan Adams, and I probably would not have him on my top 25 list. I think he's a songwriter first and a singer second, just by default because his songwriting is so prolific and it's so good. But saw him back in October and blew me away. The thing that I love about him is he has so much tightly wound control in his voice where he can put all of the momentum and everything that needs to be engaging and just sort of like this really tightly wound little box in his voice. Like he's never going off the rails. But at the same time, like he can do all of these things within his window. That's crazy. Like if this is my screen is the box of like his vocal range and it's not big, he will fill the box with every sort of technique you can do. He has, like in the song La Cienga Just Smiles, he has this calming quality to him where you feel like he's like you're crushed and he's holding your hand next to you and just like sitting by your bed and getting you through all this.
I'm too scared to know how I feel about you now.
And the song She Wants to Play a Game of Hearts, he's got like this really thick, deep butteriness to it, the way he sings.
I'm the ragdoll boy with broken heart.
And a lot of times he kind of reminds me of Jackson Browne a little bit, with kind of more of a country twang, but he doesn't always do that. He's always doing a little bit something different within the realness of his voice. Then on the song Let It Ride from Cold Roses, he's doing like this really upbeat, almost like rockabilly twang thing and having fun with it.
Moving like the fog on the Cumberland River, I was leaving on the Delta Queen.
And the song Meadow Lake Street, he's doing this absolutely brilliant, delicate little whisper where you can barely hear him at times, but he's also doing this falsetto.
There's something about you that reminds me of all those times.
He can be a rock star, like in the song Burning Photographs, where he's like just kind of like oozing this like confidence, and he even does this little touch where he goes, just like this little wink.
I used to be sad, now I'm just bored with you.
Super cool. Album from last year, he does an entire cover of Nebraska, and the way he's sending his voice on the song Atlantic City with a little help from reverb, but it's absolutely fantastic. Like he can hold these notes out way more than you like give him credit for, and he can kind of emulate other singers and stuff like that. So he's just got this really beautiful kind of sharp, cuts like a knife warmth to him. He doesn't flutter around and do all of these crazy bravados and twists and turns. There's something like Jason said last week about Willie Nelson, where you can identify him almost instantly. You can't always with Ryan Adams, and that's not to say he sounds like other people, but he's got a familiarness with the timbre in his voice that just makes it feel really wholesome and makes you feel like he's a father figure or a brother, with just the sound of his voice. It's very calming, it's very familiar, and it sticks with you. And I think just the way he sings his songs and some covers is just absolutely perfect. He always gets the mood exactly right. And if you see him live, you'll be like, wow, no, he actually has killer technique. Everything sends. Everything is a lot bigger than you give credit for on the albums. And I think he's just got a beautiful sounding voice and knows what his writing is about and nails it.
Well, I'm going to continue my list with singers that aren't necessarily known for being great singers. My number 24 is probably, actually definitely better known as a guitarist. I've got Maskis. I don't think a lot of people would probably put him on a singer's list, but what he has as a guitar player, where the emotion just seems to like flow directly from his hands into the guitar, I feel the same in his vocals. I think he is one of the more emotional vocalists that I've ever heard. And that may be kind of a weird thing to say with the music they make, but I think his voice is incredibly connected to his emotion. In the 90s, especially, some of the softer numbers on those records, his vocal performances are so achingly beautiful, kind of like quivering and shaking, and definitely an imperfect instrument. But I think they really deliver the message out of hand, over your shoulder. Those songs from Without a Sound are so good.
I know you still fall. Yeah, I know you can fake it.
Sure Not Over You from Hand It Over. Ring from his first solo record with The Fog.
But I need to feel today. Why am I driving you away? Sure not over you. It's a smile. I'm saying time to come with me, son. You'll be gone for a while.
Just so good. And like Willie, you know, his voice is immediately recognizable. I don't think anyone else really sounds like Jay Maskis. Unlike Willie, his voice probably isn't as transferable to other sounds and styles. You know, there's some covers that he's done. He's done like Fade Into You and stuff. And I don't know, they don't always connect as well for me, the covers, but he understands his voice so well, and he knows how to make it work with the music that he makes. I think he has a great understanding of how to use and utilize his voice. You know, he's often described as, you know, having like this slacker delivery or being monotone or maybe a little off key at times, especially on the Green Mind record. There's a lot of like weird off key stuff happening, but it never matters to me. It's always about the emotion in his voice. And man, something about his voice just goes straight to the heart for me. I love it. So there you go. 24.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that. Like, I think it almost brings me to tears the way he sings Quicksand, like his loose Bowie rendition on Whatever's Cool with Me. Like when he does that, I can't got the wagon anymore. It's so good call.
Take your word for it. Take your words for that. Will not be on my list, but you guys, yeah, you're gonna have some interesting lists. I feel like mine's a little too Joe obvious, but what can I do? I like a certain type of singer. My number 24 is not the most renowned singer in the group that he's in, but yeah, you couldn't imagine it without him. I got Carl Wilson of the Beach Boys, my number 24. And I think it would be as simple as just listing the songs that he sung lead on. God Only Knows, Feel Flows, Surf's Up, The Traitor, Good Vibrations, Long Promised Road. I mean, just some of the greatest compositions ever. You know, some of Brian's greatest works of art, he handed off to Carl. And there's a reason for that. Carl didn't have, you know, that heavenly falsetto quite that Brian did. He wasn't arty and sort of, you know, mysterious like Dennis, but he's the anchor, if you will, of the Beach Boys. He was the heart and soul, the center, the earthy, R&B inflected, just kind of down to earth guy that made, you know, Brian Wilson's just ridiculous heavenly compositions sort of earthly almost, if you will. He brought them down to almost like a relatable level. Like he was the relatable guy. He was the guy that you could approach. You know, he was the guitarist. He was the regular guy. And, you know, as part of the Beach Boys, as far as their harmonies, you know, he was the middle. He was, you know, between Brian's falsetto and Mike's lows, and he just, you know, the middle. He brought it all together. When Brian stepped away kind of from the group, when he lost his mind or whatever, you know, Carl took over. He injected that R&B into it. You know, I Can Hear Music, Darlin', showing off some of that white soul chops, you know, added in a whole nother layer to the band.
This is the way I always treat the
think as a producer and a songwriter, he was sort of a genius on his own right, but obviously overshadowed by Brian and sort of even Dennis in a way gets a lot of cred for having like a different side of things. But Carl with the Traitor and Feel Flows, I think, are pretty genius level compositions.
Recall senses sadly, mirage like softly like lanterns below.
And it's tough to pick out one from a group like the Beach Boys because they all were extremely important, all of them together. That's what made the Beach Boys so special. But just the fact that Brian trusted him to sing the emotional touchstones of some of these albums.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above you.
I think says a lot about Carl's vocal ability and just his relatability and just the level of genius he had for taking a song and just kind of crafting it into a way that could be a pop hit or an R&B hit or whatever the music needed. So yeah, Carl Wilson, 24th favorite singer of all time. Maybe not the only Beach Boy on my list either. We'll see. Maybe they'll all make it.
Yeah, that was a struggle for me deciding what to do with them, and you'll find out later what I eventually decided on. A part of me wanted to just put the Beach Boys as their own entry because the harmonies work so well together as a singing group more than individuals. But yeah, we'll see. Thanks for watching. Let us know your favorite singers down in the comments, what you think of our picks. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.